I'll never trade this, man. That we get to get ready for a weekend, you're back at home, and you have meaningful football to be played at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Former Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields coming to town, and everything laid out in front of the Cleveland Browns. Continue that path towards the playoffs, and exactly with everything we've dealt with this season, to still be in it. The excitement. I won't trade this, man. I've got meaningful December football to be played at home this Sunday against the Chicago Bears. You are a home favorite. It's the customary 3 as it stands right now for the Browns. Maybe a little bit more than that. We got a lot to get to. A lot of football to talk about. The Friday report card. Our NFL picks, which right now you need to start borderline fading us. But that's all right. We're going to turn around this week, Ryan. We got it all for in. Yes, we got to talk some wine and gold after that game last night. My prediction did not come true, Ryan. Nonetheless, we'll talk a lot of Cavs this morning as well on what will be a heavy Football Friday edition of the show. But nonetheless, we are here. Beautiful Friday upon us right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. You made it. Friday here upon us. Happy to be kicking it off. Or you're a third shifter, wrapping it up, and your weekend has already started. We'll get to the report card. We got our NFL picks coming up. We'll run through the morning update. Do the Dodgers need anybody else? Are they going to call and try to trade for Jose Ramirez? A lot going on in baseball. Certainly a lot of basketball as well, and a bracket to get to at Matt Fontana's show for your favorite appetizer. I've not updated it, Ryan. I've not seen exactly where we stand on that.
It's mozzarella sticks right now has a pretty heavy
favorite lead. I'll repost that at Matt Fontana 83. Drop us a follow at Matt Fontana's show. You can always watch every edition of our show right there. But we begin this morning, Ryan, with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they fall last night to the Boston Celtics, 116-107. Good cover. Did not hit our parlay. A little short there on the Darius Garland. Are you worried about the Cavs? That's the American Twitter question this morning. Are you worried about them? Because I sent a tweet out last night that I said the Cavs don't have it. What is it? I don't know. And I got a lot of responses from a lot of people, and they're missing Mobley, or this is JB's fault, or it's Donovan Mitchell's fault, or they don't have any toughness. Make no mistake, there's something off with the Cavs right now. And I've gone with the tact that I was going to take each game individually for what they were. If you told me that they were going to lose 2 straight games to the Boston Celtics, who haven't lost yet at home, that's not crazy. That is not crazy about that. And frankly, they covered in both of those games. But when you watch games, you understand here is the height. Like, here is the best team in basketball. Where do you compare? And I think it comes out to what it is. You're about a 10-point differential to that team. And I think maybe in a 7-game series you would get a win, but you realize how far away you truly are. And maybe if it is Evan Mobley, and that is the biggest key of what you're missing, and he could, I don't know, Ryan, like, I'm not trying to be negative. I don't think Evan Mobley erases a 10-point deficit to the Boston Celtics. And people could tell me that I'm crazy and that he absolutely means that to this team, specifically on the defensive side of things. But the problem, Boston basically shot you out of both of these games. That is the deficiency that I'm looking at the Cavs. And you had a game again where Donovan Mitchell, who I would instantly say is probably not the biggest issue. He's scoring a lot. That's what you need him to do. But in a game like Jared Allen, Max Strus did not really show up in that game last night. And again, I guess you give credit to Donovan to say he kind of willed them to being as close as it could be. But I don't know. I'm like, what happened to this team? Like, what happened to the Cavs? And I'm really starting to buy in that they're broken after that Knicks series. And that was months ago. That was last season. This team has changed. They have brought in Max Strus. They brought in George Niang. You have battled injuries, sure, but this does not look like the same team that I had all this confidence about being a top 4 seed. Ryan, we are back to a game above 500. You are back to barely being in the play-in tournament. And do I want them playing their best basketball later in the season? Sure. But I'm concerned. I am starting to have legitimate concerns about this team. Yeah, they'll go on this 4-game home stretch and they'll probably go 3-1 and people will start to feel a little bit better when they beat up on some bad teams. But these losses to good basketball teams, and I know they beat the Nuggets and they beat the Heat and they split against Orlando. I guess it's just like, am I reading too much into these losses against Boston?
No, I don't think you are. I mean, I'm looking at the box score here. I didn't honestly get the chance to watch the end of that game. But I'm looking at this box score.
They tried to get back, but like Boston had a grip on that game the whole time.
Well, I'll just say this. The first thing that I noticed when I looked at that was just how spread out their scoring was compared to us. I mean, I'm glad to see that Karras had a really good game again. And then
where would be without Karras? Thank God he was
Darius
back.
threw in a couple baskets. But other than that, it was the Donovan Mitchell show once again. I mean, you look at Strus, 5 points. You look at Niang, 4 points. But then you go to the Celtics, all 5 of their starters in double digits, 22, 27, 18, 15, 14. It just seems like they're a more complete basketball team. And when we have such limited scoring options, you focus on that, and it seems like we just aren't scoring.
The other thing, look at the plus minus for all of our starters. They're all in the negative. There's nobody out there collectively. I know the Cavs are still a top 10 defense from a point standpoint, but if you're not going to score and you would then have all of your starters in a negative point differential, you're not going to win any games. You're just not. And if it's picking up on the defensive side, maybe, again, it's Mobley being out. I have concerns about the offense yet again. 33% from behind the arc. 11 out of 33, a perfect 33% from behind the arc from the Cavs. Is that acceptable? Sure. So then where is everything else happening? It's the turnovers again. Darius Garland had 5 again last night. The team had 6. Do you want to know the biggest issue? 16 turnovers to just 21 assists.
Where did that come from? I don't remember turning the ball over that much last year.
I think they're pressing. I really think they're starting to press. And they're saying, I got to do this all night. Like, specifically Garland and Donovan Mitchell, who had 8 combined. But Jared Allen had 3 of his own, and he's getting to the rack, and then they're stripping him while he's going up or getting shots blocked and all that kind of stuff. Dude, we had 1 block in that game. 1. That's it. The Cavs are not playing a good brand of basketball right now. And the problem is, when I say that, people jump on the coach. Oh, the brand of basketball, the identity of the team. They're back on the JB, fire JB train. That's really what it is. Again, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back to my tweet from yesterday, which, again, I sent out right at the end of that game. And I said, the Cavs just don't have it. There's something about this team that they don't have. We should have Hayden on sometime. Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com. His tweet. They have it. It's Donovan Mitchell. They just don't want to go to it because they're scared it isn't their future.
That's an interesting take.
It's a very interesting take. And maybe, you know what? I'm going to DM Hayden. We got to have him on next week because I'd love to talk to him about that. The Mitchell thing about, folks, here's how you need to operate. Donovan Mitchell's going to leave one day. He's going to leave. And the problem is that people, and I think what Hayden is getting at here, is that we are conditioned that Evan Mobley is our future because you drafted him high. He's got maybe more of the body type that you look for in the NBA. But Donovan Mitchell's your best player. So if you go with the tact of, well, the future is really Evan Mobley, and you're going to let Donovan Mitchell leave, that might happen. And I have said, I'm conditioning myself in not a negative way at all that Donovan Mitchell's probably going to leave this team for one reason or another. That's fine. I don't take the trade back, and I'm very happy that he's here. Okay. So, to Hayden's point, is it just going to literally be, we need to go all through Donovan Mitchell, and this is going to have to be him shooting? All right, he's putting up 30 points a game, and you're still not winning. So there are other issues on that. Frank tweets, time to get rid of JB and trade Donovan Mitchell. Rick on Twitter, missing Mobley and a lot of wide open looks. It's tough to play the same team at home. It's a long season. Jermaine on Twitter. People think they got a couple of wins, they found it, but they really have never had an identity. I like that tweet from Jermaine a lot. I think the Cavs are missing their identity. They don't know the type of basketball that they have to play to be able to win. Bill, too much isolation offensively, a lack of physicality on defense. Missing Mobley has been huge. Nevertheless, the team seems like a barely above 500 team, which is exactly what they are. Browns rally possum. I hope he's doing well. Coaching, Pat on Twitter, coaching. Todd, it's the coach. I mean, Brian says we should have never made that trade. I don't buy that.
That's crazy.
I had a tweet in the Twitter inbox that said we should have never traded Lowry Markkanen. Really? That's where we're at in this? That Lowry Markkanen was the big key for this team? There is no part of me, Ryan, that regrets the Donovan Mitchell trade. No. That's not it. And frankly, I'm more talking about what this team is right now. You have made your bet. This is the team. They have got to figure it out. Is it just Evan Mobley? Is it just that the fact that they're missing Evan Mobley? Is that it?
No.
You put Evan Mobley back on this team and everybody plays well, I unfortunately think they're nothing more than a 5 seed. And that, listen, we didn't have, well, some might have, we didn't have championship goals for this team. You needed to win a playoff series to save J.B. Bickerstaff's job. Right now, you're going to have to go through the play-in tournament. JB might not even be here by the time that it matters for you to win a playoff series to save his job. I know that they're going to be a lot more controlled in this thing with the Cavs. They're going to be a lot more level-headed. But as a fan, I'm pissed. As a fan, I'm pretty pissed. And I don't know if I should be. It was Boston. The best team in the NBA right now was not lost at home, and you lost to them twice in a row at home. And you didn't get blown out. You lost by what? 7 and 9 in those 2 games? And I guess in the first game had more of a look at the end of it. Last night was kind of more the game I maybe expected. Boston had pretty much control in that whole game. I want to, real quick, can I do this? Do they have that on the StatCast here? I want to look at basically what the score was throughout the whole, you know that graph that they have where it's basically like the score of the whole game? Where is that? Where can I find that? Because it was pretty much, I found it. Okay, here's the thing. Dude, the Cavs didn't lead. Let me see if I can find it here. Scrolling down. The closest that I think I have the Cavs, it was tied 7-7 with 9 minutes to go in the first. And outside of that, it was Boston the entire way. Cavs got back within 5. No, they got back in with 3 at the end of the third quarter. That's right. Because at the end of the third quarter, Darius hit that 3, and I go, okay, maybe we're back in this. And then they just couldn't close it out. I got concerns. The biggest issue is I have concerns, and I don't know how to fix them. If it's just getting Evan Mobley back, fine. If it's just a mentality thing, the issue, another thing that really bothers me is that people are calling this team soft. And yeah, it's bad. You got everybody calling them soft. And when you know that around the league, they're going to attack that, and they're going to make it even that much worse for you. And maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm overreacting to the fact that it's the Celtics. And if they go on this streak where they got Atlanta and they got some other teams coming to town, you're back home, and you go 3-1. The problem is that I'm in a place that a couple of wins doesn't solve everything. I'm at a place now where I'm really starting to formulate who I think this team is. And a couple of wins against some lesser teams isn't going to fix how I feel. You feel better if they beat up on Atlanta and Houston? You got Utah coming for a Wednesday game next week, New Orleans. You have a streak coming up that you should be able to win a lot of games. You should be able to right the ship a little bit. But these games matter more to me. I'm sorry that they do. Because I want to see the gap between us and the Celtics. They didn't blow us out. I understand that. And we were missing one of our better players. I guess we chalk it up for that, Ryan. I guess that's what we need to look at for the Cavs. But our Twitter question is going to go up at Matt Fontana Show. Are you concerned about the Cavs right now? Are you worried about what you're seeing out of the Cavs right now? Vote on that. I'd love some responses. Ryan, cast your vote. Are you worried about where the Cavs are at? Oh, I got another Lowry Markkanen tweet this morning, by the way.
Nice.
When? 10 minutes ago. Should have never traded Lowry Markkanen. What a world that we are in. That people are starting to, you really should have never traded Lowry Markkanen.
I would say, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, you'd like to not be in panic mode this early and just allow Evan Mobley to come back and then see how that goes. And then you like you said, you take it for what it's worth. You're playing arguably the best team back to back in the NBA. So it's both at away in TD Garden to add on to that. So I'm concerned. And I like what you talked about, what they're lacking in identity. They do see, which I thought was going to be better this year, considering we add depth and better shooting, which was what we were clearly lacking in that Knicks series. But it seems like we almost got worse at what we thought we were going to get better at.
What are we good at? Defense, I guess. Top 10 on points. We were one of the best teams on defense, and you fell a little bit. Offensively, is it all just going to run through Donovan? Dude, they got to figure something out here, man. They got to figure something out. So, again, field goal percentage. Cavs are 6th. Allowed, defensively, by the way. Points allowed. They're like 8th. Okay. But then you flip it over for your team. Points scored. Cavs. 110. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 6th worst in the NBA. Field goal percentage. You have teams shooting at 50%. I guess, the Cavs are mid-pack. They're about 47%. But is it the three-point shooting, which has been a real problem for this team in the past? Cavs, again, about the 6th worst team shooting threes. So you're telling me that your defense is okay, but you're not shooting threes and you're not scoring points. You're not going to win games. You're not going to win games. If you're not locking teams down defensively, which I know you didn't have Evan Mobley, but I guess, Ryan, I was a little surprised. I know Evan is a really good player, but we can't survive that? You know what I mean? Like, you can't survive a stretch without Evan Mobley?
Yeah, I mean, like that. You're exactly right. I'm reading Buck Zips on Twitter. Time to either trade Mitchell to get the most out of him or fire JB.
The problem is eventually you're going to have to do something to shake it up, and you're not trading Donovan Mitchell. I don't think that's happening. Wow. I mean, you never say never. I'd be really afraid to see what this team looks like without Donovan Mitchell.
So, yeah, Matt, we got to have that conversation. Like, is Mobley our future centerpiece? I don't know that I'm convinced that he can be.
I started this season by saying that it was completely asinine for people to try to make a decision on Evan Mobley when he's still a young player and developing. The problem is this year was a lot on his offensive game. We needed to see some sort of outside game from Evan Mobley. I'm not talking about threes. I'm talking about a 12-foot jump shot.
Yeah.
I'm talking about that. I know he can get it in the post. I know he can play defense. Can he hit me a 10 to 12-foot jump shot?
He needs that Chet J.
Something.
Or that Victor J.
So then, if the Cavs are looking at it from that standpoint and they have not seen the development, then they are the ones that are going to have to make that hard decision. And if they wake up and they say, you know what, maybe Evan Mobley is not our guy, then you can't trade away Donovan Mitchell. You got to find a way to keep Mitchell here. The tough pill to swallow would be, we were sold that bill of goods. We were sold that Evan Mobley is supposed to be it. And if you told me that as the 3rd overall pick, he turns into a perennial all-defensive player and he averages 18 points per game, you could do a lot worse. Trust me. The NBA draft is a crapshoot more than any other sport out there. So if you told me you had a guy that is going to perennially be on the all-defensive team and averaging 18 points per game, that's worthy of the 3rd overall pick, but you expected more. And you thought there was going to be more. And if there's not, that is the type of stuff that rocks a franchise.
Jeff Balser on Twitter, not worried. They're not good. Playing like they know something is happening and they don't care about playing. Firing, trade, or player not staying. Something is up.
I mean, you want to know what all that is? Pressure. Where did the pressure start, Ryan? Losing to the Knicks the way that you did. When you lose to the Knicks the way that you did, they knew coming into this season that they had to prove a lot. That they had to basically save JB's job from the jump. And that's a tough way to play an entire season, especially when you're down guys. So our Twitter question is up. I'm concerned. Ryan's concerned. Vote on that at Matt Fontana Show on Twitter. Drop us a follow there. And, of course, watch the show each and every morning. Browns, baby. Finally, the Browns are my savior. Who would have thought that? For so many years that the Cavs were our savior from bad football. It's the other way around. I got the Browns to worry about this weekend as they welcome in the Chicago Bears. This week has been yet again a brutal test of will and resiliency on more guys going on IR and more guys going out. But I'm happy to see, Ryan, in a way, because we do a lot of betting and we'll do our bets coming up with Tipico. Finally, no more buys. We got a full slate of games, including 3 tomorrow. Nice. We'll get to those games coming up. But I look at it from this standpoint with the Browns. I think this week just kind of continues the path that they've been on, right? You've had a major player put on IR, I feel like, every week for the last month. And you've had to deal with it and you've had to overcome. I feel like I'm almost numb to it. The callus has been built for me that missing these players are big. You're going to miss Grant Delpit. It sucks on the offensive line. But I am just kind of numb to it, which I think is a positive, where I can focus on this game. And I know it's going to be a tough game, and you watch what Chicago does. We'll get to the Friday report card, coming up. They like to run the football, and they stop the run. All right, this should be a good game for Joe Flacco. Seriously. This should be a game that you're going to be able to exploit a little bit on that Chicago Bears secondary and be able to throw the football a little bit. So if they're just going to run the ball, which they could look at this defense and say, okay, no Grant Delpit, we're going to try to throw to Cole Kmet and all that kind of stuff. The question is, are the Bears a scary team? Yes, they have won 3 out of their last 4, beat Detroit and Minnesota. But I look at them, and I think the Browns are still the better team. So even with dealing everything that they've had to fight through this week, I still feel really good about this game. You are at home, which I can't speak highly enough about that this team is different at home. Last week was a big win. I'd be a little concerned about a letdown, you know what I mean? But this is weird for me to say, but with all the injuries, I don't think you're afforded a letdown. Because you got a big win, you're riding high, and then you get the gut punch that you're missing more guys. I'd imagine the Browns are supremely focused for this game and ready to go. And know that, Ryan, I don't want to put too much on this. I think Sunday guarantees you a playoff spot. If you get that win on Sunday and you improve yourself to 9 wins on the year, I'm assuming you're, and maybe it's wrong of me to do, I'd imagine you're getting one more on the way out. There's clinching scenarios for a lot of teams, around the league. I truly feel like the Browns are in a clinching scenario come Sunday. And I'm not trying to tell Kevin Stefanski how to motivate his team. That would be my message to this squad coming in for Sunday. Guys, you want to go to the playoffs? We borderline clinch it with a win Sunday at home against the Chicago Bears. That's how I feel. Then for the Browns, on the positive injury news, I think Myles Garrett's getting better. I'd imagine Amari Cooper's kind of over his injuries, and if Denzel Ward doesn't play this weekend, I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play. I think he'll be just fine, and we'll go from there. So I'm feeling good. Joe Flacco's probably feeling good, too. He got that contract done. Is everybody calmed down about that now, by the way? He came out and he goes, I wasn't going to leave anyway. Everybody was freaking out, right? Oh, he's on the practice squad. They only have so many left. He gets what could be $4 million deal because he's got incentives out the butt. $75,000 a win for the remaining 4 regular season games, $250,000 for a wild card win, $500,000 for a divisional, $1 million for the AFC Championship game, and $2 million if he goes to the Super Bowl.
What if he wins it? A statue?
Oh yeah, I mean he.
Well, could you?
He can have the stadium. Literally, he can have.
Could you
the
imagine
stadium.
if you woke up like at the beginning of this season and you flash forward to March, and you just woke up and you drove past Cleveland Browns Stadium, and you saw a Joe Flacco statue. What would you think? Like, you woke up and you're in an alternate
what I would
universe?
instantly think doing this job? We got a whole offseason of Deshaun Watson versus Joe Flacco debate. That's what we got cooked up. That debate might be happening anyway. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you shouldn't be kidding, because I bet you it's going to happen. That's
I've
the most
said
Cleveland
that before.
thing ever.
I mean, that is the thing about Flacco. He has come in and shown you can win with this brand of quarterback. I know that it was big and sexy to go pay all that money and you need some elite guy. You understand that you can win with a guy like that. And I'm not saying the Browns are kicking themselves. You made your bed. There's really no point in going back and talking anymore about it. But you see that you don't need the big flashy quarterback like you thought. I know Chicago or the Chargers last night. Oh my God.
Do we
Look
think
what Aiden O'Connell did. Jeez, oh man.
Do we think Staley's going to get fired before 11?
How is he not? Listen. We'll get back to Browns in a sec. I feel terrible for Brandon Staley this morning. I really do. I never envy that position. And we talk a lot about trading players and firing coaches. That guy didn't sleep a wink last night. Didn't sleep a wink. And I know he makes millions of dollars, and this is part of the game, but you got to feel, I'll tell you what, no matter how bad your day is going, Brandon Staley's having a worse day than you. Because he's waking up out there waiting for that phone call to go in and talk to Tom Telesco and Dean Spanos. And he knows what's happening. And you want to know what? Everybody knows. And that announcement will probably come later today. I feel really bad for Brandon Staley. I do. And his team has quit on him. They got nothing left. Yes, we won our bets last night, Ryan, because that was an obvious one. I thought I was a big baller going. I took the Raiders -6.5. And
should have took them.
I should have taken a -60.5 is really what I should have done. No, I mean, that's a crap. That is just an absolute crap situation. I feel bad for him. I really do. I'm going to stand on my bold prediction, though, by the way. That's Mike Vrabel's job. Mark that down.
Dude, Vrabel's taking that job. I was watching the game.
Vrabel's taking that job.
That Thursday game? Or was that? No, that was that Monday game when they beat the Dolphins.
Titans, yeah.
Vrabel looked like he was about to cry every time the camera panned on him. I'm like, he looks miserable.
Well, they interviewed him, too, and he's just sitting there going, yep.
He looked like he was so sad.
I mean, I think that's kind of who Vrabel is. I say this pretty confidently. I don't think there's any world that he's going to Ohio State. Can I ask that question? If you were an NFL head coach or even Jim Harbaugh, and I know he's probably going to get a contract extension and he'll probably stay at Michigan, but there would be no will for me to want to go coach college.
Yeah, why
Not just because of the NIL and the transfer portal and all that kind of stuff. Dude, you don't get an off season. You got to recruit. You're on the recruiting trail. You're going to talk to all these kids. I'm not saying the NFL isn't a grind, but if I was Mike Vrabel, who had experience course coaching college, there'd be no part of me that want to go back to college. No part of it at all. Now, would he get a giant payday? Yeah, he'd get paid a lot more coaching Ohio State than he would any other NFL team. But that's my call. I think he's going to go take that job in LA. The only reason I would maybe say no is because they hired a defensive guy in Brandon Staley, and it's not going well, so why would you go with another defensive guy? But
I got to imagine they're going to elevate Kellen Mond, right?
Kellen Moore.
Well, I always do that.
I know. Yeah, Kellen
It's like
Moore.
your Eric Ebron.
Well, I mean,
Kellen
they're gonna they'll pick some interim guy. I don't even know who the Chargers' assistant coaches are. Because here's what I would do. I wouldn't make him the. I would not make here. Okay, here's the reason why. I would not make Kellen Moore your interim head coach because number one, once he gets that position, he's gonna think that it's his, and if he doesn't get it, then he's going to leave. Now they could sit there and tell me that he sucks anyway. Like that he's not going to be there moving forward. But, Tom Arth is there, former Northeast Ohioan. Head coach of Akron? John Carroll, I know. All right, I'm looking at all their coaches. They do not have anybody on the team that's ever been a head coach before. It's probably a bad idea. Jeff Howard, their former Browns defensive backs coach. He's their linebackers coach.
They're in tank mode anyway.
I mean, at this point yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Wow, what a disappointing season for the Chargers.
Oh, I know. And trust me, you know me and the Chargers, man. I was riding high on them. Oh, I know. Well documented.
What is their issue?
That playoff
They have
loss.
the talent.
They got broke. It's a little, seriously, like the Cavs. And I'm telling you, we've seen it in sports before. You talk about mental toughness, you talk about resiliency. I really think the Chargers got broke on that playoff game, and I think the Knicks broke the Cavs. They both came into the season saying, we got to save our coach's job, which is a horrible way to have to start a season. You start pressing, you don't play well, and it gets worse. It's like quicksand. It's just the more you fight, the harder it gets. And then, yeah, you rule out Justin Herbert. I mean, at that point, the season was lost anyway. But, yeah, you look at the Chargers, and you go, wait a minute. They still have Derwin James. Wait a minute. Bosa. I know Bosa got hurt, but you still have Khalil Mack. Look at that offense. Seriously. And I know they lost Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen didn't play last night, but I'm talking about the vast majority of the season. Yeah. I don't know. They crapped it away. Now Brandon Staley's going to be out of a job. And I feel I legitimately feel real bad for him. I do this morning. That's going to be a tough thing to go. Raiders, they're going to give that job to Antonio Pierce. And really, I know a lot of people are going to watch a lot of games on the impact. There was no impact there. I don't think there's any common opponent. Like, the tiebreakers in the NFL, there's so many. It's so deep. It's all this other kind of stuff. But we do have some games, certainly, that we'll pick coming up with Tipico that are very important to the Browns and their playoff home. But I really feel like Sunday clinches you a playoff spot. If you make this a gritty football game, if you go out and you just scrap it out with the Chicago Bears on Sunday, I think you're going to come out on top. I do. The best thing I can say about Sunday, my favorite thing about Sunday, right? We're at home. Yeah. If this game were on the road, I think I'd be singing a different tune this morning. We're at home, and you should not lose that game. You really shouldn't. With everything that's gone on, I know, but you're at home. Flacco, a little more improvement from him. Now, the thing is with Flacco, the concern that it might go the other way. Like, I'm sitting here talking about they're going to get more experience with Stefanski. You know, he's thrown 89 times in these two games. You can keep rolling that, man. You keep rolling that. Can I get you some Bears statistics on the passing side of things?
Sure.
So when you talk about the Bears, and we'll get to this in the Friday report card coming up. When you think about what they want to do, they like to run the football, and they like to stop the run. That's really what they like to do. Opponent yards per game, they're like 12th. They're not really great on turnovers and all that kind of stuff. But they are susceptible to being thrown on. And that's, people are concerned like, oh, man, can you really keep this going with Joe Flacco throwing it as much as you are? Sure. Why not? Average per game, the Commanders have the worst pass defense in the NFL. Worst pass defense in the NFL. The Bears, 1, 2, 3, 4. They are the 10th worst pass defense in the NFL. 10th worst. So you should be able to throw on this team. Again, they stop the run very well. But as far as being able to stop the pass, they're not great at really any of it. So we'll get into that. We got the Friday report card. We'll get to our NFL picks. We'll get to the morning update. A lot of news coming out. Stay with us right here on Big Play. Huge day as always on Friday. Got our show 9 to 11 for Football Friday. You got Chico 12 to 2. And then Big Play, Big Bets coming up. Ted Ginn Jr. You've got Padone in there. You have David with that one. And then don't forget Ted's show is also today as well. Ted
and Booby.
Oh, Booby's today too. Oh. What Booby and Rafa have to say after that Cavs trip out there. So, yeah, Booby and Rafa today with Booby's World. It's everywhere you need it, folks. Follow us at Big Play on the YouTube side of things. Big Play channel's got it all for you, or the individual show accounts. You can always follow us at Matt Fontana Show. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will discuss the Bears, the Browns, the Friday report card. Comes your way next. Stay with us. Time to go to school on a Friday. We don't play hooky when it comes to the Friday report card here on the Matt Fontana Show. Welcome back. He's Ryan Tyler. I'm, of course, Matt Fontana. Follow us on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. Let's get to it. We do it every Friday. We take the matchup between the Browns and their opponent, and we welcome in the Chicago Bears. Best thing you'd say about the Bears, they've kind of turned things around just a little bit. They are a 5-8 team. They're not making the playoffs. There's no way. But they've won 3 out of their last 4 games, okay? They beat a hapless Panthers team 16-13 a couple weeks ago. Close loss to the Lions with Justin Fields returning. Then they beat the Vikings, and then they remedied that loss last week with a bit of a shocking win.
Very impressive.
Over the Detroit Lions, 28-13. In that game, Fields had a touchdown on the ground and through the air. Look at that game, and I say the Lions played like crap. I'm sorry. Like
Are they officially pretenders?
The Lions?
Yeah. It's a conversation need be had.
I can't get a vibe on them. You know what I mean? Like, there's one week they look great. There's another week that they let. I think they're contenders for the Super Bowl, not necessarily. And I don't think they're going to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, no.
But the Bears. Okay, they got a nice win over them. But you realize in that game, as we've got the quarterbacks up, this is all on Justin Fields. Anything that the Bears try to do, Justin Fields is it. Last week, he was their leading rusher, 12 carries for 58 yards, 223 through the air, and the touchdown. That's it. And his statistics throwing are fine, but the thing is that he runs the football, and it is really a one-man offense. And we'll get to the running backs here in just a second, but the Browns, I think, play running quarterbacks well.
They do.
And if they're going to be able to keep Russell Wilson, if you're going to be able to keep Justin Fields in the pocket, and yes, he can beat you with his arm, but I just have some supreme confidence that the Browns are going to be able to show up against a running quarterback. Make no mistake, Justin Fields can hurt you in a lot of different ways. Now, the one thing that we need to keep an eye on, and I'll do this when we get back to the offensive line too, when you look at Justin Fields, and I got to pull this back up, in his games played this year, because he's not played in every game, he had to battle that injury through the season. 3, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4, 3, 6, and 4. Those are all the sack totals.
Wow. 6
Every game that he has played, he's been sacked at least twice. He has been sacked 32 times this season. Just Justin Fields getting, put it this way, the Arizona Cardinals as a team have 32 sacks. Justin Fields missing games has been sacked 32 times. You want another little quick stat on the sacks today?
Yeah.
Bears are the second worst team on getting sacks.
Good.
So here's your thing. You should be going to get sacks on Justin Fields, and you should be able to stop Joe Flacco from getting sacked for this game on Sunday. That makes things hard. Get in his passing lanes and make things tough. You flip it over for Joe Flacco, and really, the completion percentage has been good. The interceptions, too, I chalk them up. One was the guys ran into each other, and he chucked one up down the field. But the ratio that he is on, I think, is one that you live with. 2 or 3 touchdowns a game and an interception. I ride with that all day. Ryan, are you concerned that he is throwing the football too much? Do you think Flacco, that there's too much on all the passes that he's thrown over the last 2 weeks?
No, I like it. In fact, give me more passes.
I think you're going to have to do that this weekend. I think that's going to be the recipe success there for the Browns. Now, in this world, of course, if you were building a team, you're going to take Justin Fields, and I think the Bears are going to hold on to him.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm excited to see how that plays out. I think they'll hold on to him, too, maybe trade back that 1.
They'll trade back on the 1 because now their actual pick is slipping down a little bit. There was that world that they had the top of the 4 picks there. They'll have number 1 very clearly from Carolina. And also, doesn't that feel good as a team that you're basically trading away that as a bonus pick?
Yeah.
Because you gave him for Bryce Young. That trade's going to go down so stupidly, in my opinion, and I feel bad about that. Like, I think Bryce Young's cooked, which sucks, but whatever. So you trade that away. You go down to New England or something like that. Wouldn't that be something if New England went up and got that? That'd be fun. But yeah, for the Bears, I'd ride it with Justin Fields. I believe in him a lot. And not so much for this game, but I think the future with the Bears, you could talk me into buying a little bit of Bears stock there. They make that trade for Montez Sweat. I really think they need to focus more on the defensive side because I'm a believer in DJ Moore. I think Cole Kmet is ascended as the top 10 quarterback. We'll get to the offensive line in a little bit because very clearly they're not very good either. But I don't think you're trading away Justin Fields. I wouldn't do it if I was Ryan Poles. That's where I'm at.
I wouldn't either. I mean, I just feel like that would be an unnecessary risk.
Well,
I think you
now
got something cooking with Fields.
You're adding another piece too. I know you'd have all these picks and that kind of stuff, but he's a good enough quarterback to say, let's put some pieces around him and let's see what we can build.
It would be real interesting if they can manage to get Maserati Marv.
That would be a scary lineup. That would certainly be a very scary lineup. The other thing is, talk about the Bears in the North. There are a lot of teams that are ascending there. You think the Packers are on the up and come a little bit. The Lions, I still think the Vikings have a lot of good pieces. That could turn out to be a really, really good division up there in the NFC North. But I think Justin Fields is really solid. Grading out right now is the 18th best quarterback on PFF, but he's only 20th in run grade at only just under 70 on his pass grade. And of course, he's the 4th best rushing quarterback in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah, 4th best rushing.
I figured he'd be higher.
I don't know. Let's see if I can search this real quick. NFL.
I guess, like you said, he did miss time.
He did miss time, but to your point, I'd be interested to see.
Yeah. I got to imagine Lamar.
Oh, I got it right here. I
got to imagine it's Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen.
All right, so on a PFF run grade.
Oh, so this is a grade.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. This is a grade from PFF. So do me this. You take out Josh Dobbs and Daniel Jones. Would you remove them? Because they actually have a higher run grade than Justin Fields. Justin Fields is actually 5th in the NFL in a run grade. Can you name the 4 quarterbacks ahead of him? Lamar Jackson is 1.
Jalen Hurts?
No.
Wow. Josh Allen?
Josh Allen?
Wow, I can't believe Jalen Hurts isn't 1.
No. For Jalen Hurts' run grade is only a 68.
Okay.
Justin Fields is an 80.
Wow, that might be more difficult than I thought.
The number 1 and number 2 rushing quarterbacks from a PFF grade at a 90 and an 86. Their teams have similar colors.
Is Patrick Mahomes on the list?
Patrick Mahomes is number 2.
Of course he is. And then they have similar colors. No way, it's Sam Howell. Red. Kyler Murray?
No, good guess, though. The number 1 rushing quarterback on PFF with a 90 grade.
Desmond Ridder?
West Coast.
Brock Purdy?
Brockland Purdy. I don't know if that's his real first name.
Broccoli Purdy?
Broccoli Purdy.
Wow.
Brock Purdy's got a 90 rushing.
Give him the
grade.
MVP.
I guess maybe that's what it is. We know they're going to run. I think the Browns are going to be prepared for that, kind of hem him in there a little bit. For Flacco, throw the ball. I'm okay with it. I'll live with it all day. We get to the position groups here on the Friday report card, and it's lined up there for your Cleveland. This side. Right?
No,
I was right on the other side.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, but Matt,
It's
I
all
mean,
Browns.
head coach here wasn't really a close debate. It's Kevin Stefanski and Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, Eberflus.
I compel. I would love for somebody to come on and give me an argument for Matt Eberflus over Kevin Stefanski.
It's hindsight, and I could do this all day about telling people what I thought at one point or this and that. That was one that I was just like,
yeah.
No.
Weren't a fan.
And everybody strives for what I think even the Chargers might do here. You got a young quarterback, get him a young offensive-minded coach. Yeah. And there's more that goes into head coaching, sure, but yeah, I don't know. He'll keep that job for next year, I think, but I'm not real big on Matt Eberflus. So yes, very much so here. That's Kevin Stefanski.
Well, onto the receivers. We gave Cleveland the nod here again. I still think Amari Cooper will be the best wide receiver on that field. DJ Moore is having a pretty solid year.
Very solid
He's finally getting touchdowns, which was kind of his knock in Carolina. But then you go beyond him. You got Darnell Mooney, Equanimeous St. Brown, the brother that's not good. I wonder if he ever gets jealous, Matt. Do you think Equanimeous gets jealous of Amon-Ra?
I mean,
how could you not?
How could you not, I guess? Like, here's the thing. When you add in the tight ends, we might give the edge to the Bears. And I will tell you, I actually think this might be the closest of all the groups. So DJ Moore's already got 1,000 yards. Here's the shocking thing. He averages 14 yards per game. You talk about Darnell Mooney. He's actually 3rd on the team. He hasn't even cracked 400 yards. But here's the thing. Also, at a 14.6 average reception, that is a little with Tyson Bagent, sure. And then you got to worry about Cole Kmet. The other concern is between DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, 12 touchdowns between those two. And nobody on the Browns can touch that. I would agree with you. Here's why I think it could be a little staggered. I think Amari is 1, then DJ Moore is 2. Then I think Cole Kmet is 3, but then I think David Njoku is right there. So then if you're asking yourself, Darnell Mooney, I could have leaned Bears on this. Yeah. I think I might have been able to.
Equinemius and what is it, Velus Jones?
Well, here's the crazy thing. Of the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, just give me the top 8 guys. Only 2 of them are wide receivers. Kmet, Roshan Johnson, and Khalil Herbert. Tunion's there, but I think he's played in 13 games. I just don't think they throw to him. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a DJ Moore, Cole Kmet show. That's what it is. That's who you're going to have to stop. So when you add in the tight ends, I think it's maybe a little the Bears. Maybe just a little bit, but that's just fine. That's just fine.
No, yeah, I mean, you're right. Cole Kmet is good. I just maybe have a little bit of David Njoku recency bias.
Sure.
But onto the running back room. We gave Cleveland the nod here again. I think Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford are a better duo than Deonta Foreman and Roshan Johnson.
Yeah. And again, you talk about Khalil Herbert will get some carries there too. That's the thing about the Browns, which is shocking that, you know what, Jerome Ford's going to have an outside look at 1,000 yards this season. He's got 700 already, which is great. He only has 3 touchdowns, though. We know Kareem Hunt, 7 touchdowns. He's it. So here's the thing. Kareem Hunt's got 361 yards. He would be right there. So Fields is their leading rusher at 460, right? Deontay Foreman only has 431. Khalil Herbert's only got 339. Johnson's got 230 something. That's one game for a really good game and that kind of stuff. The thing is, Deontay Foreman's got 4 rushing touchdowns. So they really use Fields, I think, to get down there, and then they punch it in with Deontay Foreman. We're not wrong here to take the running backs. I think the Browns have the better unit here. As a team, though, this is 2 of the best rushing offenses in the NFL. Nobody runs the football in the NFL more than the Cleveland Browns, number 1 in carries. Then they are number 7 in rush yards per game at 131. You flip it over for the Bears, number 4 in attempts and also number 4 in yardage. So they run the football even a little bit better than the Browns at 138. We talked about the defenses, which we'll get to, about that's what the Bears really do well, is stop the run. But on Bears offense, you know they want to run, and you know that they're going to run with Justin Fields. And in fact, do you know the number 5, this is really 5 and 6 in the NFL in rushing first downs? Bears, Browns. So it's going to be a lot of heavy running, which I really think would be interesting for taking the under in this game come Sunday, but we'll get to that coming up in a little bit. For the running backs, though, yeah, I think Jerome Ford is probably your best, like, just on the totality. If you were saying Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson, Deontay Foreman versus Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt, they're close. We'll give the edge just because Ford's got the yardage, so we'll give it to the Browns in that one, I think deservingly so.
Well, even though our offensive line is beat up beyond belief, Matt, the Bears do have one of the worst offensive line units in the league, so Cleveland still gets the nod here, even though we're going to be out with what seems like everybody.
Yeah, and the thing is, we talked about the sacks, that they give up a lot of them. So the offensive line, which they have actually kind of shuffled a little bit here and there, they don't have anybody. Their best their best position is Tevin Jenkins, their left guard. But if I'm not mistaken, because I just checked their injury report. No, he's healthy. Right? Yeah, he's healthy and good to go. Because I looked at the injury report. They did not have any of their linemen on it for this one. So Tevin Jenkins, their left guard, is their best one. Where you're going to be able to take advantage is that right side. Darnell Wright's their right tackle. Nate Davis, their guard. Their worst player is Lucas Patrick, their center. He's their worst graded player. He's grading out at a 50. So the interesting thing is that Myles Garrett, taking on Braxton Jones at their left tackle position, he's one of their better ones. He's got a pass block grade of 82. That's top 10 in the NFL. So you've got a pretty good matchup there with Myles Garrett going up against Braxton Jones. The thing is, as I've been doing, you don't have Obo Okoronkwo, I get it. I'm going to look at Zadarius Smith a lot, man. He is going to have to get after Darnell Wright on that right side. He has a pass block grade below 65. So you should be able to get some pressure off the right side of that offensive line. Again, this is close. But the 2 best linemen in this game are defensive linemen, sure. Your 2 best offensive linemen are Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio. So we start there. I could live in a world that Tevin Jenkins is the next best offensive lineman. So really, you've got guard play is your thing. Ethan Postic is a lot better than Lucas Patrick. You mix in Garyon Christian, who's been very good at that left tackle position. And I think James Hudson, I mean, here's the thing. James Hudson might be the lowest graded guy on the field. But we'll give the edge to the Browns there strictly because, again, they can run the football with the Bears. They cannot pass protect. They really are tough getting sacks there for their offensive line.
Well, finally, the defense goes to the Cleveland Browns. No shock here. And as we mentioned, at home, the Cleveland Browns defense is the best in the league, allowing a leading, I believe, Matt, it's like under 11 points a game at home. That can't be stated how important that is that this game's going to be played at home.
You know, again, I talked about them being able to stop the run. They do it better than us. The players that you have got to watch, there are two guys for me that you really got to keep an eye on because, frankly, they are the only well, I don't want to say the only two guys because they do have Montez Sweat, so you got to watch him. The big one to watch is Jalen Johnson. He is the #1 rated cornerback on PFF coming into this game. He has a coverage grade of 91. He's going to be on Amari Cooper. And that's going to be a really tough matchup, I think, for Amari Cooper. So you got to watch Jalen Johnson there. Then the other one is TJ Edwards. This guy makes a lot of plays from that linebacking position. Really, they have their three best defenders are on each level. Montez Sweat on the D-line, TJ Edwards at linebacker, and Jalen Johnson their corner. I say that to say this, Ryan. Outside of that, they have jack squat nothing. Nothing. Not Brisker, the safety, not Terrell Edmonds, not Sanborn, Jack Sanborn, they're the linebacker. They got really nothing outside of that. And in fact, their other corner, Tyreek Stevenson, nothing. And you want to know something else too? Brisker might not even play in this game. He missed practice yesterday with a groin injury. You want to know why he might not play? He was limited on Wednesday, then didn't practice on Thursday. So that's probably feeling even a little bit worse. So again, he's still a starter. He's one of the worst graded safeties in the NFL, though, out there well, I shouldn't say one of the worst, but he's middle of the pack. So, I mean, I'm really worried about TJ Edwards, Johnson, Montez Sweat. Those are the three guys you got to worry about the defense. Now, for the Browns defense, coming back with all the takeaways that they do now. So here's the other thing, too. When I talk about takeaways and turnovers for this game, where So I was looking at this for the Bears. They're one of the worst teams in turning the football over. The problem is the Browns are the worst team in turning the football over this season. That's another thing, man. We are injured, and we turn the football over. How the hell are they where they have been? I don't understand that. Now, as far as the turnover ratio, which I want to bring up from this standpoint that they're -1 for the Bears, which is not bad considering that Tyson Bagent threw 6 interceptions in the games that he has played. So they fumbled 19 times. They've lost 9 of them. They have 15 interceptions is where that they have been. Or excuse me. Yeah, 15 or... Hang on one second. I'll pull this back up. They as a team have 12 interceptions. 12 interceptions what they've thrown this year. So they don't necessarily turn over a lot. But... that's something that the Browns don't do either. They've been really bad with that. So defensively, the Browns certainly get the nod here in this one after what they did last week, and I just really think, again, they have the better players on that side of the football as well. So we'll go defense for the Cleveland Browns.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep for the Browns. And again, it's a 3-point game. This is going to be close. This is not one of these games that I expect this to be a complete blowout, but I think it's going to be a really close game with the Chicago Bears, and I hope the Browns just have a little bit more, especially being at home. Let's do this, Ryan. Let's catch a break. We come back. Our Tipico bets. Get signed up right now. Use that code BIGPLAY100 when you sign up, and you can get $100 in bonus bets. What you do, you deposit and bet $25 with that code BIGPLAY100, and you get $100 in bonus bets that you can place with our wagers this weekend. You got 3 Saturday games, a full slate of NFL, all coming your way with our friends at Tipico. The picks are next. All right, here we go into NFL week number 15, a full slate. Get the buys the hell out of here. Here we go, including 3 Saturday matchups. Let's get to it with our friends at Tipico. Again, download the app, use that QR code when we go to break. When you sign up, deposit and bet $25 on whatever you want. Big play 100, you get $100 in bonus bets to bet at your heart's content. Well, the good news is, Ryan, that we are still above 500 on the year. The problem is that we are slipping closer to it. Tough week for us last week. 14 games. I went 4-9-1.
Are you going to tell me I did worse than that?
You went 3-10-1.
Oh, that's ugly.
Our push was Minnesota Raiders -3. Both lost on Kansas City. Both lost on Green Bay Monday night. Both lost on Detroit. Both lost on Houston. I mean, there were upsets. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, we both lost on the Colts against the Bengals. It was a tough go. Now, the good news is that we're off to a win already because we both picked the Raiders last night, and that was a nice, easy win for us to kick things off. So, nonetheless, it is time for our picks, and we get rolling right here as we head to a Saturday matchup. 3 games on Saturday, which I like. We start Vikings-Bengals. This game is at Paycor Stadium down there on the banks of the Ohio River. This opened as a borderline pick'em game. It is now 3 to the Bengals. I would say in part because of the public money, but the public money is on the side of the Vikings. 60-40 on Minnesota, but they got a quarterback change afoot. They go to Nick Mullins. Josh Dobbs demoted to 3rd string now, as I'll turn it over to Nick Mullins. Over-under is 40.5 for this game. Let's get into our recent trends. We start with Minnesota. They did beat the Raiders 3-0 in that crap game last week to stop a 2-game losing streak for Minnesota. So after they had that magical 5-game win streak, they lose a 1-point game to Denver. They lose a 2-point game to Chicago. So I would say that not all the wheels are falling off here for Minnesota. And it's certainly not for Cincinnati. They've ripped off 2 straight over Jacksonville and Indianapolis with the Jake Browning experiment going well. I start with Minnesota, though. They are 6-1-1 against the spread their last 8 games, 6-2 straight up in their last 8, and a bit of a road warrior here. Minnesota is 5-0-1 against the spread their last 6 games on the road. One place that Minnesota historically does not play well, though, is Cincinnati. Minnesota is just 1-7 straight up in their last 8 games when on the road against the Bengals. We'll throw for the Bengals, playing well themselves. 6-3 against the spread and straight up in their last 9, and they're playing well at home. 11-3 straight up in their last 14 games at home, and as I aforementioned, they really own Minnesota down there in Cincinnati. It is a 3.5-point spread on our friends at Tipico. I'm going to take Minnesota on some good juju for the Browns. I think the Bengals might win that game. I don't trust them to cover, and that's a savory number at 3.5. Give me the Vikings. Ryan.
I'm going to go with the Bengals. I've been surprised. Jake Browning, credit to him, what their offense has still been able to do despite losing Joe Burrow. I just have pretty much no faith right now in the Minnesota Vikings because of what they're going through at the quarterback position. So I just don't expect them to put up a lot of points. So I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Another Saturday. This is 4:30 and an interesting matchup. The Steelers and the Colts. This game is at Lucas Oil Stadium, home of the Indianapolis Colts. Open as a 2.5-point spread for Indianapolis. It's down to 1.5 on the side of the Colts. In part, public money, 60-40 on the side of the Steelers. So we know where the Steelers sit. They're trying to hang on. Both these teams 7-6. They're going with Mitch Trubisky. Is that the best option? I don't know. For the Colts, are they starting to come back down to earth? They lose to Cincinnati last week. That ended a 4-game win streak. But the thing about the Colts in that 4-game win streak, they beat Tennessee, they beat Tampa Bay, they beat New England, and they beat Carolina. They were beating them on some really bad teams. For Pittsburgh, they've lost 2 straight, but to 2, again, pretty bad teams. New England in that kind of fluky one on Thursday night. And then, of course, they lost to the Arizona Cardinals back with Kyler Murray a little bit ago. I start with the trends on this one. Pittsburgh comes in 13-7 against the spread their last 20 games. They are 6-1 against the spread their last 7 games against the Colts. The Steelers are on an 8-game win streak against the Indianapolis Colts. and they are 5-0 in their last 5 games at Lucas Oil Stadium for the Pittsburgh Steelers. For the Colts, 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games, 4-1 straight up in their last 5 as well, and as I mentioned, they are not playing well against Pittsburgh. But how about this? The Indianapolis Colts are 6-1 against the spread their last 7 games on a Saturday, and they are 4-2 against the spread their last 6 games when they are the favorite. 1.5 for the Colts, and really, frankly, folks, either a loss by either one of these, a tie maybe helps a little bit. I don't know. One of these teams losing helps the Browns in the wild card. Ryan, you're up first. Steelers, Colts. Colts a 1.5-point favorite.
Well, I just talked about how I have no faith in the Vikings offense putting up points, and I certainly have even less faith in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense putting up points. So I'm going to go with the Colts, and also in good faith because I do want the Steelers to lose.
Pittsburgh. I hate it. I don't like. I'll take Pittsburgh there. Plus that 1.5. Obviously, just probably take them on the money line here. Detroit trying to rally. They welcome the Denver Broncos up to Ford Field. This is a 4.5-point spread. It stayed that way all week on the side of the Detroit Lions, the home team. This is an 8:15 kick tomorrow night. 63% of the public money on the side of the Detroit Lions. We start with the Lions here. And, of course, coming off a little bit of a shocking loss to Chicago, Ryan, they've lost 2 out of their last 3. That's shocker to Green Bay. They rally, were able to beat New Orleans, and then they lose to Chicago. You talk about Denver, they rebounded against a bad Chargers team with a win, and they're hot. Obviously, Denver won 5 out of their last 6. I'm assuming, 6 out of their last 7 games with that shocking loss to Houston 2 weeks ago. A bit in the rearview mirror. I talked about that 7 games, right? Denver is 5-2 against the spread in their last 7, and they've also played Detroit well. Denver is 8-3 straight up in their last 11 games against the Lions. For Detroit, 14-6 against the spread their last 20 games, 14-5 straight up their last 19, 4-1 straight up in their last 5 games at home. But Detroit, they're only 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games played on a Saturday. It is the Lions minus 4.5. I will take Detroit and those points. I would like the Broncos to fall here, and we need them to, so I'll take Detroit.
We were just talking about whether Detroit's a contender or a pretender, and I think this is the perfect game to test that. And I get the feeling that they may be pretenders, so I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos.
Denver it is. All right, we go to the Carolina Panthers welcoming in the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons trying to stay afloat in that NFC South at 6-7, and the Panthers are just disgustingly bad at 1-12. Here's the crazy thing.
I hate the Falcons, man.
Dude, they're only a 3-point favorite. I know they're on the road, but it's the Panthers.
Because they're horrible.
I know.
The Falcons are ass.
I know. So are the Panthers, though. Coming to this one, Atlanta with that loss to Tampa really hurt them in the standings. Carolina's just absolutely trash. Atlanta is only 3-9 against the spread their last 12 games. They're only 2-4 straight up in their last 6. But they own the Panthers. Atlanta 11-5 against the spread their last 16 games against Carolina, and then they are 12-4 straight up in their last 16. Atlanta's not good on the road. They're only 2-10 straight up, but Carolina blows. They're 3-8 against the spread their last 11. They've lost 6 straight. Really, the play seems to be the under. Under has hit 6 out of Carolina's last 7 games, 5 out of their last 7 against the Falcons, and all 5 of their last 5 home games. Carolina, Falcons, Atlanta -3. I will not let you pick the Panthers in this. It is the ATL for both of us. Right?
What if I want to pick Carolina?
I'm not letting you do that.
No, I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to bet the Falcons because I can't stand watching Atlanta play football. If they didn't have Desmond Ridder, I would go with the Panthers. But since they do, I'm going to go with the Falcons.
I think this is a sneaky, interesting game up at Lambeau Field. 2 6-7 teams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Green Bay Packers. Packers fighting for a wild card spot, and Tampa's still very much in the conversation to win that NFC South. This is a 3.5-point spread for the home team Green Bay Packers. It stayed that way all week as far as the public money goes, 60-40 again, but on the side of those Green Bay Packers. We do start with Tampa in this one, 5-2 against the spread their last 7 games, but they're only 2-4 straight up in their last 6 games against the Packers, 3-6 in their last 9. Tampa is 2-15 straight up in their last 17 games at Lambeau. That is quite the historical stat here for you. But Tampa is 6-1 against the spread their last 7 games on the road. You flip it over for Green Bay, 2-4 against the spread their last 6, 2-4 straight up in those games as well. And as I mentioned, they have owned Tampa Bay at home. Here's my thing about Green Bay, okay? That loss to the Giants ends their 3-game losing streak. I don't think they look the same without Aaron Jones, without Christian Watson. Now, they might get Aaron Jones back from this game. He's been out weeks with an MCL. He reportedly said to reporters he's confident he will play in this game this weekend. A.J. Dillon's got a fractured thumb. He might not be able to spell Aaron Jones, and I don't think Christian Watson is playing in this game. Tampa, winners of 2 straight, they need to win bad. Give me the Bucs plus 3.5 to win that game potentially. Ryan.
I don't even really know how to feel about this game. I thought I had a read on the Packers, but after watching them lose to the Giants, it kind of threw a wrench in that. And the Buccaneers, I mean, the simple fact is they're not that good, but the reality is that they're in the worst division of football, so they're vying for a playoff spot still, so they're going to have it going for them. I guess I'll just hope that Lambeau Field kind of throws a little wrench, whatever you want to throw at Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. I guess I'll go with Green Bay, but I'm not confident in the slightest.
All right, Chiefs trying to rebound after they were crying all week about the referees and Kadarius Toney. They travel up to Gillette Stadium to take on the lowly Patriots. Of course, New England got a shocking win last week. Does that right the ship? I don't know. Kansas City, Ryan, has lost 4 out of their last 6 games, including 3 of their last 4, 2 straight to Buffalo and Green Bay.
You love to see it.
I mean, they're winning this game, I think, but the question is, will they cover? I've got it at 8. Some places have it at 9 on the side of Kansas City. It opened at 11, Ryan, and it's down to that 8 or 9 depending on where you look at it. Now, as far as public money goes on this game, let me find it here for you. Do they not have it? I don't have this. I don't have public money on this game. Huh.
I'm sure it's 100% Chiefs.
I mean, it's got to be on the Chiefs, right? Yeah, I'm weird. That's weird. I don't have public money. I apologize for that. So let's get into some trends here real quick on this one. We start with Kansas City. They're only 2-4 against the spread their last 6 games, but they are 4-1 against the spread their last 5 against New England. They are 8-2 straight up in their last 10 games on the road. But Kansas City does not play well at Gillette. They're only 2-7 straight up in their last 9 road games against the Patriots. Patriots are all bad, 1-5 against the spread their last 6. They are 1-9 against the spread their last 10 games at home. 8 for the Patriots. 8 for the Chiefs. What am I saying here? 8 for the Chiefs. I'm going to go KC on this one for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kansas City as well. I'm honestly surprised it's not more than what it is. I mean, the fact is, I would hope that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, well, I don't hope actually because I want them to lose, but I would imagine that Patrick Mahomes and them are going to come with some fire under their ass and just pick on a really, really bad team right now.
Speaking of bad teams in a way, the New Orleans Saints still in the hunt, 6-7. They welcome the New York Giants to the Superdome down there in New Orleans. I've got this as a 6-point spread. New Orleans is the favorite. It opened at 4.5, and it's now up to 6 as far as public money goes for this game. I have it at 60-40 on the side of the Giants, and touchdown Tommy DeVito. We'll see. Giants just 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games on the road. New Orleans 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games. Dude, they are abysmal. 1-7 against the spread their last 8 games at home. New Orleans is only 3-6 straight up in their last 9 games when they're the favorite. The Giants have won 3 straight. New Orleans beat Carolina to end their own 3-game losing streak. I don't know why. I'll take the Saints to cover in this game. I don't know why.
Ew,
I hate
what are you
it.
doing?
I hate it. But I'm taking the Saints to cover in this game. I am.
Well, you didn't even have to ask me because I'm always going to go with Tommy Cutlets. And it's the perfect storm because I don't like the Saints and they're kind of suspect. So I'm always rolling with Tommy Cutlets.
Titans coming off their big win on Monday Night Football. They take on potentially a C.J. Stroud-less Houston Texans. Have we seen anything on that this morning, Ryan? I don't think so,
I know
right?
he's still in concussion protocol.
He's still in concussion protocol. Now, I'm not saying that he can't clear it, but the line reflects this. Titans, a 3-point home favorite over the Houston Texans. Again, we talk about Tennessee getting that big win over Miami on Monday Night Football. For Houston, they lost 2 out of their last 3, including a bit of a stunner to the Jets. They're missing Tank Dell. They're probably going to be without Nico Collins. And you wonder if C.J. Stroud is going to be able to go for this game. And also, Will Anderson, doubtful for this game. They have a lot of injuries on the side for Houston. And even when they were healthy, they didn't cover, man. They were only 2-5 against the spread their last 6 games. Assuming their last 7 games. Here's this about Tennessee. Houston was 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games against Tennessee, but only 2-5 straight up in those games. So Tennessee favored a lot. Houston is only 5-11 straight up in their last 16 games on the road. You flip it over for the Titans, 3-6 against the spread their last 9 games. They're 5-15 straight up in their last 20 games. I'll let you go first here. Titans -3.
I'm going to go with the Titans just because C.J. Stroud disappeared on me when I needed him most. He got me 3 points, Matt. All I needed was 1 touchdown from him, and I was going to the fantasy playoffs. And now I'm eliminated.
Yeah,
so.
I'll take Tennessee as well on that. I think with C.J. Stroud, even if he does clear and somehow play, I think maybe still a little momentum going there for Tennessee, so I'll take the Titans as well. Dolphins back at home. They're welcoming the Jets to Hard Rock Stadium. This is a 9.5-point spread. It's down from 13. It opened at 13. This is, again, dude, I got a lot of 60-40 on the public money this week. 60-40 on the side of the Jets. So let's see where we go from here. We'll start with the trends for the Jets. They're only 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games. 1-5 straight up in their last 6. Dude, they cannot beat the Dolphins. Jets are 1-6 straight up in their last 7 games against Miami. They are 2-9 against the spread their last 11 against the Dolphins. The Jets are on a 7-game losing streak down there at Hard Rock Stadium. I'll just say it straight up. I think that's going to continue, and I will take Miami minus this 9.5. You flip it over for the Dolphins, 11-5 against the spread their last 16, 9-4 straight up in their last 13. Miami is 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games at home. I think they rally after that shocking loss. I think it brought them back down to earth a little bit. I'll take Miami to roll in this one and win by double digits. Ryan.
Yeah, it's not much to think about here in this one, but just something to monitor on the all questionable Tyreek Hill,
Tyreek Hill, certainly,
and Devin Achane. I believe I pronounced
I don't think
correct.
Achane's going to play in that game.
Yeah, I
really
either.
don't think so.
So that's something to monitor, but either way, I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Wilson back in there, giving the Jets a little bit of hope.
AFC Player of the Week.
Yeah, and it was him and Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, New York, New York.
Who would have thought that this would ever be the world that we live in, but here we are. So a clean sweep there with Miami. We begin our 4 o'clock slate out at SoFi Stadium. The Commanders making the long cross-country trip to take on the LA Rams. Rams are 6-7 and spicy in the playoffs. The Commanders 4-9, floundering a bit. This opened at a 4.5-point spread for the Rams. It's up to 6.5 now. As public money, all Rams, baby. 80-20 on the side of LA to get this done. We start with the Rams in this one. Of course, they're coming in. They lost that close game to Baltimore in overtime on the punt return. That ended a 3-game win streak for the Rams. I think things are rolling there for LA a little bit. For Washington, they've lost 4 straight. They're in a lot of trouble out there. On the injury report, Washington very healthy. In a sense. And then for the Rams, it's just Matt Stafford, Puka, like all these guys, but I think they're going to go in this one. I'll start with Washington. They don't play the Rams well. 3-7 against the spread their last 10 games against the Rams. Washington 1-6 straight up in their last 6, and they don't play well on the road. Washington is they do play well on the road. 5-2 against the spread their last 7 games on the road. But how about this? And this is a huge historical stat here. Last 14 games for Washington on the road against the Rams, they're 10-4. I don't think that trend continues here, though. You flip it over for the Rams. Again, they don't play well at home against Washington, but they got things rolling there. Rams 6.5. go ahead and give me... I'll take the Rams. That was my gut pick. This is kind of my borderline stinky pick of the week here.
I'm going to pick the Rams as well. How does Ron Rivera still have a job?
And they're just going to play out the string.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're at. They'll probably just play out the string and see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the Rams.
Okay, I got to admit, on my stinky of the week, my stink, stank, stunk, to take a line from the Grinch, this is it. And it's the San Francisco 49ers on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. This is a 12-point spread. It opened at 12. It stayed at 12. And 70% of public money is on the San Francisco 49ers minus that 12. I don't know if I like that. Let's get to the trends here. We start with San Francisco, 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games. They are 4-2 against the spread. Their last 6 games against the Cardinals. San Francisco is 6-3 straight up their last 9 against the Cards. San Francisco is 9-3 straight up in their last 12 games on the road. For Arizona, they've turned it around. 4-2 against the spread their last 6 games. They're only 3-17 as we know, but they're able to play pretty well there at home. For San Francisco, they come into this game. Scroll down here. Of course, winners 5 straight, Seattle, Philly, Seattle, Tampa. For Arizona, though, they beat Pittsburgh last week. Really got blown out by the Rams in Houston. It's stinky, so I'm going to take Arizona plus the 12. Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Arizona as well at a backdoor cover here. I mean, I don't really have much faith that it's going to happen, but I'll get nuts.
It's just a big number. It's just a really big number that I don't really like. A semi-marquee matchup at Highmark Stadium, and the Dallas Cowboys coming off that throttling of the Philadelphia Eagles, up there to take on the 7-6 Buffalo Bills. Of course, Buffalo, they had that big win over Kansas City, which really should have been a loss. They played Philly tough a couple of weeks ago. Interesting to see where Buffalo goes from here. Dallas coming in 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games. But how about this? Dallas is just 1-4-1 against the spread their last 6 games up there in Buffalo. For the Bills, dude, they're 2-7 against the spread their last 9 games. While they've been able to win, they're not covering right now. Bills a 2-point home favorite. Talk me out of taking the Bills, because I don't want to take them.
I don't know what I want to do either. This is a weird one.
This is a tough game. Here's how I play it out. I want the Bills to lose because that helps the Browns.
Is it going to snow, do you know?
Let me see if I can get you some weather here. I don't have it. It says no data available for the site that I check. I mean, the thing is, you're banking on the Cowboys to have a letdown after that big win over Philly. They're on the road. It could be a little bit of weather, and the Bills' backs are against the wall.
I'm going to go with them boys.
I'll take Dallas then, too. All right, there we go. Final one, Sunday Night Football. We just got a little bit of interesting Cavs news, by the way. Some very interesting Cavs news. Let's do our last pick here. Sunday Night Football, Ravens taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars down there in Everbank Stadium. This is a 3-point road favorite for Baltimore, which is down from 6.5. Wait a minute. I had it, dude. It opened 6.5 on the side of the Baltimore Ravens. It's down to 3. Public money is still 66% on the side of the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens 10-5 against the spread their last 15 games, 7-1 straight up in their last 8. But they have not covered in Jacksonville. 1-6 against the spread their last 7 games against Jacksonville. Baltimore is 0-4-1 against the spread their last 5 games on the road against Jacksonville, but this year Baltimore is 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games on the road. For Jacksonville, 14-6 against the spread their last 20 games. As I mentioned, they've covered a lot at home against Baltimore. Baltimore, a 3-game win streak over the Rams, Chargers, and Bengals. Jacksonville, a 2-game losing streak to us in Cincinnati. 3 on the side of the Ravens. Ryan, make your selection here. Sunday Night Football.
I'll just go with the Ravens. Clearly the better team than Jacksonville at this point. And maybe just like we talked about off air, Matt, just hedging my happiness. I want them to lose, so I'll bet them.
I'll take Jacksonville. I think they'll rebound in that one. So there are picks Huh.
What's this Cavs news? I haven't seen it.
Per Yahoo Sports, Jake Fisher, the Bulls pitched a trade to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland. They offered Zach LaVine for Darius Garland straight up. That was pitched from the Bulls.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely stay away from that. I would not make that trade.
No,
I would not make that trade at all. That just came down. It's just an alert that I got. So let's do this. You want to catch a break? We'll do the morning update when we return.
Let's do it.
Add that to it. We got a lot to get to. Ohtani, the Dodgers. We'll get back into the Cavs as well. Morning update. We'll send you off to your weekend, and we'll do it next right here. This is Big Play, Matt Fontana Show. Follow us on Twitter, at Matt Fontana Show. We're on YouTube, at Matt Fontana Show, and, of course, at Big Play as well. Back right after this. All right, let's get to the morning update. We got a lot. This thing, it just came down from Yahoo. Just came down that they're reportedly the Bulls pitched Zach LaVine for Darius Garland. Don't like that trade. But nonetheless, we got a lot to get to in the morning update. Take it away, Ryan.
Well, the Cavs fall again to the Celtics after another not great shooting night. That makes the Cavs just one game above 500, Matt, and they're now the 9th seed in the East.
Our question this morning was, are you concerned about the Cavs? Is that something that you watch how this team plays and you're concerned? Right now, about 75-25, yes. Michael tweets, they played Boston down to the wire 2 games in a row without Evan Mobley. Did they, though? Dat Time on Twitter, it's even worse, I don't care. Dennis says, we need a new system, get rid of JB Bickerstaff. Got a lot of those tweets this morning. Got a lot of tweets this morning on that. Listen, the Cavs play an interesting brand of basketball. They turn the ball over and they don't shoot threes all that well. That's a tough way to play. Yes, you don't have Evan Mobley. That was a big impact in the game. I voted yes on our Twitter question, right? I'm concerned because I think my concern with some of the things that are happening with this team, I don't see a fix. Is it as easy to say, oh, hey, wave the magic wand, go ahead, we're going to go shoot better all of a sudden? No. They need an identity. They need to find out what they're really good at, emphasize that. I don't think it's defense anymore. I really don't. So I'm concerned about with where the Cavs are at. I know the Celtics are very good, but I watched those games, and to the tweet that I just read, I don't think those games were really all that close. I really don't think that was all that close. But, yeah, I don't like it. So more on this from Jake Fisher on the Chicago thing. Levine for Darius Garland. Chicago attempted swapping Levine for other all-star players, such as pitching Cleveland on the concept of acquiring Darius Garland from the Cavs, sources say. So the thing is, it's more that they are trying to get rid of Zach LaVine. Like, they have talked to multiple teams reportedly about moving on from Zach LaVine. I guess Philly and the Lakers remain tied to LaVine. He's got 4 years, $180 million owed, including the rest of this season. Levine's been out with right foot soreness. He's not expected to come back anytime soon. The Bulls are still searching for a type of haul that is a multi-time all-star would typically draw, which Levine certainly is based on his resume. An established starter plus a young player with upside and first-round capital, according to league sources. Chicago also attempted at swapping Levine for other all-star players such as pitching Cleveland on the concept of acquiring Darius Garland from the Cavs. That's it. That's pretty much all. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming that got shot down pretty quick. I wouldn't make that move. I just wouldn't do it. I'd rather ride out with Darius Garland, but things are starting to loosen up a little bit. I mean, we know that the Cavs are they don't have anything to make a move. They can't trade any of their first picks. They have a couple expiring contracts in Okoro and Ricky Rubio if they really need to make a move. But it's really tough for the for the Cavs to make a move right now. But things are starting to loosen up a little bit, I guess.
Well, the Guardians got a new manager in town this year, and something else new they got is new seats.
Oh my God, they're blue. Stop. Everybody freak out.
Out with the green, in with the blue. They are going to be a final color that is considered navy blue hue.
Chico is going with Castor Vince about Hugh and Hugh Jackson and all that kind of stuff. Well, they're going to fade, aren't they?
I would assume
they're
so.
in the sunlight all day. They're going to fade. Little update, why not? I mean, was that a hard decision to sit down and go, gee, what color should we do? Red would have looked awful. You know, what else? What are you gonna do? Black? They get really hot.
I like the way they look.
I like the blue.
Yeah.
I think they look good.
Yeah.
I think they look really good. They're going all in, which is fine. I know there's some questions about what you're gonna look for on. They still have sanctions or statute or whatever. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm nowhere near a structural engineer.
I am.
I think it looks good. You are an engineer. Structural engineer, audio engineer, it's all the same. Looks good. I do like the color. And anything they can do to spruce it up. I think that's what they're sprucing it up. They're making all these changes. It'll look good, but it'll still come down to we might have a really long season. I'm glad they put that beer garden because I think a lot of people are going to have to be drinking a lot to watch the Guardians play baseball this year.
Well, a pretty surprising Thursday night game yesterday, Matt. We saw the Raiders just absolutely throttle the Chargers. And, Matt, I feel like we would be doing a disservice if I didn't sit here today and give a absolute shout-out to wide receiver Trey Tucker, Northeast native, went to CVCA. 2 touchdowns yesterday as the Raiders blow out the hapless Chargers.
I mean, dude, they were throwing trick plays in the third quarter. Jacoby Myers throwing touchdowns. What an absolutely embarrassing show from the Chargers. They have no choice but to fire Brandon Staley. That's just what is going to have to happen. You have got to change the course of action right now for the Chargers. And they have a lot of questions, right? Austin Eckler. Is he not just on that 1-year deal? He didn't get an extension, right?
I'm not sure.
I don't think he did. Both Googling the same thing to see who can get there first. Oh, no, wait a minute. Wait. Yeah, he's on a 1-year deal. He signed a 1-year deal to up his money. So he has a question. What do they do with Keenan Allen? So you have Mike Williams, who's injured. Chargers are in a state of flux, and that's one less team. I mean, it's funny because when we started this season about the AFC, they were one of the teams like, oh my God, Justin Herbert, oh my God, the Chargers. Kind of thins itself out there. It's one less team the Browns are going to have to compete with. That's really bad. I mean, that's like a franchise-altering loss right there. And then the Raiders, man, at 6-8. Give them a little credit. I'd make Antonio Pierce take that interim tag off him. I'd have done that this morning. If you're Mark Davis and all of his water bottles. Did you see that last night?
No.
Just a stack of water bottles in front of him. It was kind of weird. Him and his weird haircut. And all white. Why does he dress in all white?
He's just such a weirdo.
I know. Good for the Raiders. Well done on their point. Aiden O'Connell with 4 touchdowns. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
It was a bloodletting. It was so bad. And the thing is, the Chargers couldn't hold on to the football, man. Just kept fumbling it away. Really bad. That's a franchise-altering change there for the Chargers, and they will they're going to have to fire him. What other choice do they have?
Shohei Ohtani officially introduced as a Los Angeles Dodger, but that's not the only move they made, Matt. The Rays agreed to trade Tyler Glasnow to the Dodgers. A pretty already stacked team gets another great player to their roster.
So they were talking about on ESPN this morning. Shout out to Chris Canty, Evan Cohen, and Michelle Smallman. And they were talking about the Dodgers and how they can spend to do this stuff. And do you realize they've been on a stretch 10 straight years of the playoffs and 1 championship, but that's not good enough for the LA Dodgers. Do championships that teams spend for, do they mean a little less? I think they do. Now, I'm not a Dodgers fan, and I'm sure Dodgers fans don't care, but that's cheap. That's cheap. When you spend, it means more for the Baltimore Orioles to go win a championship. It would mean more, not for the cheat throws, but the problem is that you have these teams that spend all this money, and, they get all these players. It doesn't always mean, it's not like they're guaranteed to go to the World Series right now, but, dude, how do you look at that team and say that they're not going to decimate everybody? Like, it's incredible to see what the team they put together. It's borderline cheating. Now, the thing is, people are really upset about the deferred payments, right? Because you have and it's not like they have a salary cap to circumvent, but still, you have the flexibility because they're trading for Tyler Glasnow. You know what they have to do to Tyler Glasnow? Give him an extension. He wouldn't waive what I think he might add a no trade deal. I don't know, whatever. They're trading for him because he wants a contract extension, and he's going to get it with the Dodgers. It's disgusting. It really, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? The players will never vote for a salary cap. The teams that like to spend will never vote for a salary cap, so you'll never get the percentage from the owners to change that. It's really kind of disgusting to watch. And again, am I putting the cart before the horse? They could, bow out in the second round of the playoffs. Like, dude, they're assured. How do you not just, they're going to the playoffs, right? Like, there's no guarantee that there's no way that they don't. But it's disgusting, and I don't like it.
Have you seen the Tyler Glasnow celebrity comparisons?
No, I've not.
Please look it up. I'm going to put it on the screen now.
Okay.
He looks like a twin of Cillian Murphy.
Oh, I have seen that. Yes, I have. Yes, I have seen that.
For the viewers, it's up there. I mean, it's uncanny, Matt.
Yes. Yes, I have seen that one.
It's almost eerie.
Yeah. It is. Very much so. It's in the jaw. It's really the jaw. The cheekbones and the jaw. They are very, very... you could step in for Peaky Blinders or Oppenheimer.
I was going to say, he's a busy man. I didn't know he was also
and now
a
he's in L.A. It's perfect. Get him into Hollywood. There you go. Is that it?
That's it for the morning update.
Great stuff here on the morning update. Folks, Browns this weekend. For a couple of weeks, I'm not going to lie, I didn't have a vibe. I didn't have a feel for this team, for the games. Ryan, for some reason, I'm uber confident this weekend. Uber confident. Now, the Bears, they're a scrappy team. Like, when I see their last couple of games, when I watch how they play, and it's as simple as you got to stop Justin Fields. And I think it helps this defense to say it's a little more singular. I'll be honest, I was more worried about the Jags. I was more worried about Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and Zay Jones, and Calvin Ridley. I was more worried about what the defense was going to do against Jacksonville. They went out and had a great performance. So it's more on the defense of this game. I need to see them capture this momentum. I feel like the defense has kind of been up and down, where they have a good game stretch or maybe even two, and then they kind of come back down to earth. This is a game, dude, I need the defense to win this game. I know the offense is kind of chugging along and they're putting up points when they need to and all that kind of stuff. This is a game, and maybe it's eerily reminiscent of the game a couple of years ago when you sacked Justin Fields. Myles Garrett had 4, and we had like 10 as a team. Don't think that doesn't factor in. Don't tell me that Justin Fields is not going to look over there and see Myles Garrett and go, oh, crap. I remember that game. Now, the Bears were in a different spot then. I mean, they were bad.
Was that Fields' rookie year?
Yeah. That was bad. And they're better. And the only thing, I would say the only thing, I'm giving respect to the Bears, but they believe they're in this, Ryan. They believe that they're all of a sudden back in this, and they're not going to go to the playoffs at 5-8, or even if win a couple, they're out of it. But they've strung together a couple where they're feeling good. They're feeling good. This is a game that I really have wanted for Browns Nation, for myself as a fan for a long time. You know what that is? We're the better team. I want you to go ahead and knock the Bears down a peg or two. You know what I mean? Like, the Bears think that they're this team. They think that they should be contending for the playoffs. And I want the Browns to go, we're going to show you what a playoff team looks like. We're going to show you just how good we are. I was well off last week betting the Browns to be the minus a half a point to win the first quarter. Maybe I do it the same, too. These opening drives, dude. These opening drives have just been, whoo.
They're beautiful.
Just opening drive. Ryan, let's get to our keys. So, obviously, we run through our Friday report card. But let's get into some of our keys for this weekend. Number one, it is getting after that offensive line. We mentioned Justin Fields, in every game that he has played this year, has been sacked at least twice. You should be able to get hands in his face. You should be able to get pressure. But I look even more at that defensive line, the interior. Their worst offensive lineman is their center. Their left guard is their best offensive lineman in Tevin Jenkins. But if you can push that pocket, force Fields to get evasive out there, it's going to make a play. The thing is, this is a game that I would really like Grant Delpit to be out there for, because I see him being a guy that you would have to control. Like Justin Fields, Grant Delpit is kind of built to be a guy to take him down. You know what I mean? He's a guy that you would be able to say, get out to the edge there and limit what Justin Fields is doing. You don't have him, so you're going to have to figure out something else. I really hope Juan Thornhill plays in this game, by the way. What's his status? I mean, we'll find out later today.
I kind of just assumed he was out.
Thornhill did not practice last 2 days.
Yeah.
Denzel, 2 days of limited.
I hope Denzel plays, man. I'll be so sad.
I need him. We need him to play bad. Probably not going to have Jordan Elliott for this game either, too. He's battling concussion, did not practice this week. But, yeah, it really comes down to, number one, getting sacks. I think if you get 3 sacks in this game, you're going to be setting yourself up well for a victory. So that's key number one on that defense. Number two, Cole Kmet. He's ascended as being one of the top 10 tight ends in the NFL. Close to top 5. What do you think?
Top 5 might be a stretch.
Tight ends.
I think I can name
Travis Kelce, TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle, Sam Laporta, Evan Ingram, Trey McBride, David Njoku, Ferguson, Pitts, and then Cole Kmet, strictly from a yardage standpoint. 548 there for Cole Kmet. Am I putting too much sauce on Cole Kmet? Tell me I am. It's okay. Putting too much on him?
I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of Cole Kmet. I just know he's been a player that they've expected to ascend. You know, at least for last year, they thought he's going to take a big jump up. But I'm not really familiar. I'm like that Shaq meme. I'm not familiar with his game.
He has not scored a touchdown in his last 4 games out. He does not have a 100-yard game all season. Pretty consistent, though, for Cole Kmet. So maybe I'm putting too much on him, but I think the Browns have kind of always struggled against the tight ends. And you see what Evan Ingram did to you last week. So I think you really need to watch Cole Kmet as key number 2 for that. Key 3, and this might be the biggest part of that offense, is the matchup between Jalen Johnson, their number 1 corner, and Amari Cooper. Jalen Johnson's best cornerback in PFF right now. His coverage grade is over a 90, which is really impressive. But also, he's 6'2". He should be able to stay physical there with Amari Cooper. I hope Coop is healthier than he had been. You know, he was fighting through some injuries on his own. But Ryan, I'm a little afraid of what it would be if they shut down Amari Cooper. That's a scary world to live in on an offensive side of things. if they can't get Amari Cooper to get going against Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, that would be disappointing. I fully expect, though, Amari Cooper to be fine. And that's the nice thing about Joe Flacco, though, being our quarterback. We've seen him in the last couple weeks, but especially last week against Jacksonville, his ability to unlock some of these receivers that Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Deshaun Watson and PJ Walker otherwise failed to do. So hopefully that will continue. And even if Amari Cooper does have a down game, according to his standards, hopefully Joe Flacco will have the ability to keep unlocking guys like David Njoku and like Elijah Moore.
And that's the thing, folks. I think the Browns have the better team. In totality, even with the injuries, the Browns have the better team, and you're at home. You win Sunday, you're all but guaranteeing your playoff spot. And that's how I hope the Browns approach this game. They always had that mindset of one game and all that. I would say it this week. And I'm sure they're feeling it anyway, but I would make it known, to use a line from the Cavs, let them know. You win this game, you're in the playoffs, guys. You're probably not getting a home playoff game with the seeding. Act like this Sunday is it. Give it to the fans. Play this game like it's a playoff game. And it might be, again, a low-scoring affair. I think weather's supposed to be pretty good for this weekend, all that kind of stuff. But what? They like to run the football. Fields likes to run the football. And they like to stop the run. So you should have a game where rushing attack, the will of attrition there on the line. But especially with Joe Flacco, to go win that game, man. This is it. Everything that you have fought through and everything that comes to this game on Sunday. The fear is that Justin Fields goes Superman. He goes he's going to take it. The Bears are going to put this all on Justin Fields because that's their way to win. That's how they win, is putting it on him to go out there and run the football and score a bunch of touchdowns. I think about with where Chicago is at, and I want to take more look at more recency because I think they have turned it around, with what they've done coming out of their bye week. Ryan, they've won, I mentioned 3 out of their last 4. They won those games 16 points, 12 points, and 28 points against Detroit. This isn't some juggernaut of an offense. And in fact, I think when you look at, again, I take out the games with Bajan that was in there, at times they have struggled to score. Turnovers can be a part of that, sure, but they're just not putting the ball. I think you get to 20 points, and I think you feel really good about getting in this game. 24 points, I think, is a lock for a victory for the Cleveland Browns. That should be able to do that against this defense. You really should be able to do that. And I think for also the Browns, with Chicago, knowing that it's going to be a lot of Justin Fields, you limit Fields, you're going to limit DJ Moore. Like, if Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert and them, if they're going to go rush for 500 yards in this game, I'll lose that way. That's fine. You have got to be all about Justin Fields for this game. And put some body on him, too. The thing I'm going to watch for this game, when we start hitting him, are they going to start throwing flags? Are they going to start being concerned? We talked this week about the referees with Myles Garrett. Is that message going to start getting home about him getting held in the hands and all that other kind of stuff? Because the way you start to limit Justin Fields, yeah, he delivered that ball. You give him a little pop. Keep it within the whistle. You try to keep it clean, but I'm sure they're going to be watching that too. I need Zadarius Smith in this game again, man. I need somebody else to get a pass rush going with Obo out, with Myles still banged up. You got to start getting some more pass rush in that game. So we'll see. I'm feeling really good about the Browns, though. I feel really good about that -3.
Yeah, it's hard not.
We
to
don't
be
bet
confident.
we don't bet on the Browns because it's bad juju and all that kind of stuff. But I like the Browns minus that 3.
It's pretty hard not to be confident in this team at home from what we've seen pretty much through 3 quarters this season. And going back all the way to that Broncos game, I mean, I think me and you were both on the same page of both those West Coast games. We didn't have a very good feeling, and obviously that manifested itself into 2 losses. But we both felt pretty good about the Jags game, and I had the same feeling for this, if not a little bit better, that we're going to handle business at home and get another win. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well. I know a lot of people that are going to the game this weekend. It's always kind of been a thing, too, about people freaking out about, who's going to the game and ticket price and all that kind of stuff. I know several people that are going, so enjoy the hell out of the game. Ryan, let's get to it. Our big play bracket of the week, your favorite appetizer.
Well, congratulations to none other than mozzarella
Go
sticks.
have
Matt,
some in
I'm a
honor.
little disappointed. I do think mozzarella sticks are a bit overrated, if I'm going to be honest with you.
The problem is that there are good mozzarella sticks and there's really bad mozzarella sticks. There's places that do it a little bit better. You got to have it crispy and then the cheese and all that. But the problem is that a lot of times you get mozzarella sticks and they are just a flaming
Yes.
river of lava.
Yes.
And they just melt your face and you can't eat them properly. I love a good. Dude, I can't even tell you last time I had a mozzarella stick.
I haven't had one in a while.
I mean, maybe we should, in honor of them winning the bracket, we should go get some mozzarella sticks this week.
We should. Loaded nachos came in second, followed by buffalo chicken dip in third, and chips and guac / queso in fourth.
All right, fair enough. So congratulations to mozzarella sticks. Enjoy that. Cavs are back in action tomorrow night. Okay, so the Bulls offered Zach LaVine for Darius Scott. This is the kind of stuff that you got to deal with. When your team is underperforming, when things aren't going well, this is going to happen. I want them to win a couple of games here to make me feel better, Ryan. I don't know if they will. That's the problem. I'm just in and I don't want to say that people are getting apathetic towards the Cavs, but with the Browns being in this, I know people are focused on the Browns, and the Cavs, they're only going to get their piece of it if they start winning a lot of these games, which they're just not.
Yeah, Matt, back to the Twitter question. Are you worried about the Cavaliers? 191 votes, 72.3% say yes.
And the problem is you're going to ask for a shakeup. People are going to keep saying Donovan Mitchell. They're going to keep going to that trade. They're going to keep pointing their finger at that. You got to get something back before he leaves on his own.
I hate that. It's so funny, the range of like views on this Cavs team right now, because you have kind of what we've been saying, the guys who are worried about where they're at right now, but then you have Michael Cox on Twitter. They played Boston down to the wire 2 games in a row without Evan Mobley.
Right. That's like, there are people that are saying that they want to believe that this team can, but I just need to start seeing a little bit. Yeah. I need to start seeing a little bit from this team. Yeah, they can beat up on the bad teams. I feel like they almost need a bye week. You know what the Cavs need? They really, like, I don't know, they don't do that in the NFL, or they do it in the NFL. They just need like a break or something to get right, to get healthy, to get a mental reset. They need something going on there.
Man, I wanted to ask you about this too. I saw this on Twitter. I think it was our artist Cody Dowd who tweeted it, but I can't remember if it was him or not. But he said, the NFL should do, every team gets the same bye week. Like, it's like week 8 or whatever, and we can afford a week off of football if it's going to make the product better on the field.
Oh, no, they'll never do that.
And I know they'll wouldn't, but
I
thought about that, and I'm like, that would be cool. Like, because dealing with all these injuries now, it's like, damn, like, it sucks that we had that bye so early.
Well, what I think they should do, and eventually they will, is they add more regular seasons games. They will add a second bye. Make no mistake that they're going to go to the two preseason 18-game regular season model. That's what they're going to do. They need 20 games. That's what they've always sold.
Oh,
they're
really?
The TV packages are 20 games. So in the past, it was 16-4. Now it's 17-3. So what they eventually will do, and I think all the teams would be accepting, 2 preseason games, 18 regular season games, and then here's twofold. You get 2 buys in there. As they doubled the amount of international games. Doubled them. They're going to Brazil. They're going to need a second bye for these teams to be able to travel and do all this other kind of stuff, and that'll stretch the season out.
Do you want a Browns international game?
I don't really care for them personally.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't go. Like, I'm not going to go, so I know fans that do. I guess you could wake up and say, like, oh, hey, you get to watch the Browns. You know what? I guess in the whole, it doesn't really bother me. I'm not going to go, so it doesn't really bother me.
I wonder if, like, so obviously we know London has the Jags. When they play the games in Mexico, I feel like it's like the Texans, right? I feel like that's a big fan base.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, probably.
What do you like? Where do you think like our international Browns, like
Canada? We're big in Canada.
Yeah. Okay. I
mean, the Browns are big everywhere, but yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you got to take. The Jags are a bit of a lowly franchise, so that's probably why they were willing to sign up for this when they did, and they'll take any amount of fan base that they can get. Haslam's aren't hurting for money, so they don't need to be like, oh yeah, we'll become the official Toronto team. We'll be the team that plays in Canada all the time. No, I don't think that's happening. Browns backers are worldwide, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I think that's eventually what they're going to do. Cavs need a bye right now. The Cavs need some time off. They just need to get right is what they need. I think the Browns are going to get right this weekend. They've been right. I know they're fighting through these injuries. I expect a great game this weekend, which has been awesome. We appreciate everybody's support this week as we've run through it. We'll be back on Monday. Holidays are right around the corner, so we do have some days off coming up here around the holidays. Quick plug, I will be on ESPN Radio again this weekend, Sunday night, so I'll be on 5 to 9 doing all the afternoon slate and that kind of stuff, so you can hear me all across the country on the app for the ESPN app, and that's it. Coming up, Chico 12-2. Don't forget that on a Football Friday. Got Ted Ginn Jr. show a little bit later today. Special edition of Booby's World with Booby and Rafa. That's going to be a must listen with all the Cavs stuff.
Shoot
going
it,
on.
Booby.
And then, of course, big play, big bets with Dave, Nick, and Ted. What's their Padone's right there. I should ask him. What is their overall record on the year?
It's somewhere in the doc. I have to update it this week. I do it every Friday.
Like, are we off? Are they smoking us?
No.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, Dave's so funny. He does all these alternate spreads. He'll be like Cowboys plus.
Oh, that's coming
20.
out.
I know.
Come on.
He's Mr. Alternative Spread Man.
I'll love to take the. I'll take the 49ers minus 4.5 all day. That's not the line.
But it was so funny. Like one week
That's
he did
not it.
one week he did like Giants plus 25, and he still lost because it was like that week they got blown out in Dallas.
There you go.
Yeah. So you got to take those with a grain of
There you
salt.
go. Cavs back in action tomorrow. Do you want to do a quick boost for tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night is.
Cavs, Hawks.
Well, I mean, yeah, why not?
Well, I mean, we're way late in the show. I don't know. You want to do one off air? And
Yeah,
then
we can do
send
that.
them to one? I don't even know if the props are even up yet. All right, check it out. Download the Tipico app, bet and or deposit and bet $25. With that code BigPlay100, you get the $100 in bonus bets. Folks, have a fantastic weekend. Really feeling it for the Browns this weekend. Enjoy the hell out of it. Cavs tomorrow night. We got college football. We got NFL tomorrow. Have a beautiful weekend. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana, and as always, take it easy.